What's up, guys? Today we're in the shop and we're going to be doing a little bit of maintenance for you, and I'm going to show you how to change the oil in the 2020 CFORCE 600. I went to Main Street Cycle in Tishomingo, Mississippi, picked up the oil that I need and the oil filter. I'm going to be going with the Maxima Racing Oils, the full synthetic engine oil, and we're going with the 5W50 because I live in Mississippi. This is for a wider range of temperatures, and if you live in Mississippi, you know, or in the South, man, one day it can be freezing, the next day it's burning up hot outside. So this is good oil for a wide temperature range and hotter temperatures like we'll see in the summers of Mississippi. Also, something really, I didn't know this until I talked to the mechanic at Main Street Cycle. By the way, Joel and the whole crew there at Main Street Cycle in the shop, they are experts at these CFMOTOs. So if you have issues or problems, or you just have questions, call the shop up, and they will be more than glad to help you. They stay pretty busy, but they will try to help you out best they can. But the CFMOTO, I know the CFORCEs from the 400, 500, 600 and 800, they all use the same oil filter. So it's the same part number. We're using a high flow premium oil filter, HF152. But anyways, it's going to take almost 3 liters to do an oil change in the 600, so we're going to do that. Let's get right to it. I'm going to show you how to do it. It's real simple. Let's do it. All right, so what you're going to need to first heat up your engine. Just crank it up, let it idle for a little bit, and then or you can kind of ease it around the yard, but it don't take too long. You just want to stir everything up and then bring it in, get it on a level surface, turn it off, and let your engine cool just a little bit so you don't scald your hand when you take the drain bolt out. You'll need a 17 millimeter to take the drain bolt out, and then an 8 millimeter to take the oil filter cover off. And so we'll do that, and I'll show you how to do that. You need a drain pan, of course, and if you have a torque wrench, that'd be ideal to make sure you don't strip none of these bolts out. All right, so we're gonna put our drain pan underneath here. I'll go ahead and take this, take the side cover off. There's 3 rubber grommets, and get that out of the way. That's your oil filter cap. We'll go ahead and take our actual oil dipstick out. We'll set it out to the side. Okay, we'll set it to the side, keep it clean. By the way, if you noticed in the beginning of the video, when we did all of our testing on the CFORCE 800 that you saw, that was a good friend of mine's ATV. And I liked it so much I went and picked up my own. So I got the CFORCE 500 that we've had in all our videos. I have it sold to one of my best friends, and he's going to be riding with us, and we're going to have a good time riding with him. And so he bought the 500. I got it all cleaned up, changed the oil in it, oil and oil filter, checked it out real good for him, and it is ready to go. So he bought that, and so now my wife is on the 600, and I have moved up to the 800. So there'll be a lot of stuff coming on it, and I hope you enjoy it. But let's get back to this oil change. All right, so we're gonna drain the oil now. Get your 17 millimeter and put her on there. Break her loose. Shouldn't be too hard to do. You can pretty much set that aside. Get your oil pan in place. You don't want to drop it in the pan. You don't want to lose your washer either. There we go. Look at that. Looks good. That ain't too dirty either. We'll inspect the oil here in a little bit when it finishes draining, but we're just going to let that go ahead and drain, and we're going to move up here and go ahead and start taking off the oil filter. All right, so there's no way to not make a mess when you take the oil filter cap off. You try to position your oil drain pan underneath it to catch most of it. It does have some holes in the floorboard, but I'm going to place some paper towels here to try to absorb as much as possible. Now on your drain plug, it is recommended to replace your seal washer, but I mean, you can inspect it, and if really I'm not going to replace it unless it was damaged, but I am going to keep an eye on it and inspect it for leaks after I run it for a little bit. But anyways, just set that to the side, keep it clean, and we're going to take these off. Remember, I would recommend using a 1/4 inch ratchet with an 8mm so you don't strip nothing. But just break these loose, then you can pretty much do it by hand after that. As soon as you break that seal, it's going to start coming on out. There she goes. All right, so you're going to want to inspect your ring here, your seal. Make sure there's no damage, make sure it's clean, and that is definitely reusable. So we'll set that here, let that kind of drain out a little bit. Now we're going to get a bag ready, and we'll pull that oil filter out. Just wiggle it a little bit and it'll come on out. All right. Set that in the bag. All right, so you can just get a little bit of oil, fresh oil, and just kind of lube that rubber seal up a little bit. And you just place it in. All right, now we'll take our cap. Remember, make sure your ring is okay. And we'll put that on it. We'll start our bolts. Remember, do not over tighten these. I think the book says 10 foot-pounds. Not many people have a 1/4 inch torque wrench with them. So here's what I recommend. Take your 1/4 inch drive ratchet. Take your 1/4 inch drive ratchet and do not bow up on it. Just kind of lightly bring them in evenly. Okay, now they're all touching. Get this light in here. So I'm just going to kind of barely squeeze. Of course, best case scenario, you have a torque wrench and it's I think around 10 foot-pounds of torque. Just do not over tighten it. We'll check for leaks and all that once we get her filled up and cranked up. We'll clean everything and check for leaks, but it should be fine. All right, so now we're going to go back under. We're going to put our drain plug back on. Make sure that you either bought a new seal washer, or just make sure the one that you have that you took off is not damaged, and you can put it in, and you're going to torque it at 25 foot-pounds of torque. 25 foot-pounds of torque. So I'm going to do that now, and we'll put some oil in here. All right, so now we torqued our drain plug back in place at 25 foot-pounds of torque. Double check that, clean everything around it, and also torque these at 10 foot-pounds of torque if you can, but don't strip it, don't over tighten them. So I cleaned up around it. Now I'm going to take my oil and put that in now. I love that Main Street Cycle has so many options. You know, you can go with the basic stuff, basic oil, non-synthetic. They even have like a synthetic blend, I think they offer. They have different brand of oil manufacturers. But like I said, we're going with the 5W50 synthetic engine oil by Maxima. Make sure your funnel here is good and clean. You don't want to knock any debris into the engine. So it calls for a little over 2.8 liters. So these are 1 liter bottles. So we will almost use all 3 of them. And we will crank it up, check the level. And we'll go from there. We'll get to be back on the trails. All right, so we just ran the 600 for just a minute, and at idle, we turned it off. We let it settle for a minute. Now we're going to check and make sure that we didn't have any leaks, and also check the level. All right, remember, just wipe this off. So you can get an accurate reading, get it dry. Now put it back in, screw it in all the way. I know some of you are thinking, oh, this is very elementary, but there are actually people out there that have never done this before, and they would like to know how. So that's why I'm showing every little detail. All right, so we're just above the max line. Just above the max line there. You probably can't see it on camera, but we're just above the max line, and that is okay. Now if I was way up above the max line, that would be an issue, but as we run it, being right there at the max line, that is okay. So we're going to put our cover back on, check for leaks. It didn't leak. I was checking it while it was running, but everything looks fine. Real simple to change the oil in these CFORCEs, no problem at all. So you can do it yourself at home. If you are within driving distance of Main Street Cycle, they got all the options for you there. So go to Main Street Cycle in Tishomingo, Mississippi. And if you have any questions, call them up. Or if you want them to inspect your four-wheeler or your side-by-side, they can do that. They have great service department there. I highly recommend them. But hey, if you go to Main Street Cycle, whether you're shopping or getting some parts for your four-wheeler or getting them to check yours out or doing any warranty work, let them know that Blake from Real Talk Power Sports sent you, or that you've seen some of my videos. It helps me out a little bit to see the effect of my videos and what it's doing to help their local dealership. But I highly recommend them, and they're great guys to work with. But I want to show you something else before we end this video. I used to use this a while back and I stopped, but I got back on it because they had a bunch of them at a bunch of cans at Main Street Cycle. And I put a fresh coat on the 800 before I've ran it any, and I haven't got it dirty yet. But check this out, on the 600, I put a nice coat of SC1 from Maxima on all the plastics. And listen, all I did was spray off the mud. I mean, I ran through my muddy trails back there, and it had mud clogs all over it, and all I had to do was spray it with a pretty good pressure. I didn't use a pressure washer, but I have a lot of water pressure here at the house. But I sprayed it off, and man, it looks great. It looks like I didn't even go mud riding. You can see on the CFORCE 500 how nice it looks. This thing has 18 hours on it, I think. But anyways, I use SC1 on it, and it's an excellent product. You can get that at Main Street Cycle as well. Another little tip, if you're washing your machine, I like to use this Waterless Car Wash from Rain-X. I spray off all the big mud chunks and just spray it down real good, and then I bring it in the shop and I wipe down any mud that's left over, and then I put this spray this Rain-X all over it and kind of buff it in, and that helps a lot as well. That's a good route to use. But after I clean it and I let that sit, now I'm starting to use this SC1 again, and I really like it. So I feel like it really protects your machine. And also another little trick that I that I've done for a long time on all my side-by-sides and four-wheelers is WD-40. I buy the big gallon jugs of WD-40 and put in the refillable bottles, spray bottles, and I just kind of coat my axle boots, my all my driveline underneath, my A-arms, the bushing area and all that, just to it just helps protect everything, and it helps the mud and dust and all that just wash right off. So that may be a tip you can use or try out yourself. Don't get no WD-40 on your brake disc or you'll have problems stopping. But anyways, I'm gonna quit rambling. I hope you enjoyed the video. Give a thumbs up if this video was helpful for you, and subscribe if you haven't subscribed. And also, you may not get a notification on all my videos when I upload one. I try to upload every 3 to 4 days. So make sure that bell is on and that you're getting all notifications on my videos. That way you never miss a thing. But anyways, I hope you enjoyed it. God bless y'all. Stay safe, and I'll see you in the next video.